All right. Good morning. We're live on Facebook and Instagram. Oh, the Facebook is being slow. We're live on Instagram. Okay, now we're live on both. Welcome. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. So this is day 3 of the 5-day meditation challenge with Devoted Heart. Lauren, thank you so much for joining. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, David. Anyone who's here, drop a comment, say hello. It's very sunny where I am. I guess I'm gonna do the challenge from a different place every day. Today I'm in my living room. And this is where I meditate, honestly. Like, I really like to be able to sit on the couch and have a view of the sunrise while I meditate. So, like I was talking about yesterday, you don't have to sit on the floor. You don't have to sit in any particular position. I mean, I do end up bringing my legs up and sitting cross-legged, but you don't have to if that's not comfortable for you. Good morning. Okay, so let's check in. I want to hear or see or whatever how it's been going. So Daniela posted about her meditation practice yesterday. I didn't see anyone else post, and whatever. It would be great to hear from you about your meditation practice. That was my challenge for you from yesterday. And then my challenge from Monday was about creating connection and enacting love in the world. So a small act of kindness or service. So if anyone has been doing these challenges or the journal prompts, let me know. Drop a comment. How did it go? Or if you have any resistance to it, you can let me know that as well. I don't like that this pillow is in the video in a weird way. Okay. No, I don't like that either. So have you been doing the journal prompts? Any reflections? How's it been going? Drop a comment and I'll see it either now or later. So for day 3, so day 1 was loving yourself and others. Day 2 was about truth and honesty. So the truth and how to enact the truth. Weird pillow life, yeah. This is a whole weird pillow couch anyways. But, and then day 3, today is about boundaries. So what is a boundary? A boundary, I looked it up on Google, as one does. So it said a line that marks the limits of an area or a dividing line. Okay, so some kind of separation between something. And so we can have boundaries in different ways, in different aspects of our life. So if you're here live or if you're watching the replay, drop a comment. In what area of your life or with what regard can you have boundaries? Can you practice sort of a division, a separation, a dividing line, as it says here, a limit? In what area can you practice having boundaries? Let's see if anybody says anything. Okay. So you can have boundaries with your body. You can have boundaries with your time. You can have boundaries with your energy, with your stuff, with your home, right? So anything, and we don't want to overemphasize the this is mine and it's not yours thing, but creating balance. And we're going to talk more about balance tomorrow in terms of when to, oh, here comes my friend. Okay, hi. Ooh. See, this is a boundary violation of the kitty coming into my video and distracting everybody. So different ways that you can have boundaries. But what are boundaries in service of? Boundaries are in service of keeping your container, your vessel full. Let's see. Jennifer said work. Oh yeah, definitely work boundaries. Boundaries with my job. Yep. So where does your work life end and your personal life begin? And can you maintain that container and be willing to say no? So no is a really key word for maintaining boundaries. What was I just saying? Oh yeah, a container. Maintaining a container for your energy. And like I was talking about with my meditation practice, it's very much in service of staying centered within yourself. So not giving too much to anything or anyone, and not allowing too much to be taken from you by anything or anyone, so that it depletes your container and you're no longer able to operate and also give from a full container and a full cup. Okay? So as a progression of what we talked about yesterday, I found this Marianne Williamson quote that says, "No one will listen to us until we listen to ourselves." No one will listen to us until we listen to ourselves. So listening to our own truth and enacting it through boundaries, through, okay, this is as much as I'm willing to give, or this is as much as I'm willing to allow to be sort of taken from me in whatever regard, in whatever situation. So that deep listening that is required. We make a lot of promises and say a lot of things to ourselves about what we're going to do, practices, all kinds of stuff. With me, I notice that I always put on my calendar when I'm going to practice yoga, like asana poses. It's on my calendar, but then when something else comes up, it easily gets moved around my calendar. It's like, okay, I don't really need to do that right then, or maybe I don't even really need to do that at all, which is not really true. I do need to do that in order to keep my own cup full as a yoga teacher. If I'm not practicing yoga, then it's going to be less effective and less potent for me to be teaching. So I do need to do that, but because it's something having to do with me filling my own container, it sometimes feels negotiable. So I'm sure that other people can relate to this. So is there anything that you tell yourself that you're going to do, and then you let the boundaries around that thing be pushed and pulled and moved around, and maybe just let it go to the wayside? Is there anything that you notice that happens with? Please drop it in the comments and share. So my next question is how does, and this is an expansion of the same thing, but how does having boundaries and like practicing boundaries support with your meditation practice? And so it's something that if you really want to do it, if you really feel like it's in service of you staying in the center of yourself and then offering that to the world, then you get to create boundaries around it. You get to put it on your calendar. You get to, close a door, turn off the phone. You get to set a timer and say, okay, this is the container for my meditation. And so that's the boundary. And no matter what is happening, you still do that. So you get to say no to other things, or you get to wake up earlier, all the difficult things in order to actually have a boundary around a practice that's supporting you. And I hesitate to say you need it, because there's millions of people who don't meditate and they're fine, and you can be fine, but you need to be operating from a full cup in order to be your most effective self in the world. So we'll say that if you need it, if you want to go to the next level and you find that supports you in doing so. So I talked about boundaries as listening to your truth and then enacting it using the word no, and looking at what you need to thrive. So the deep listening from your body and mind and energy about what you need to thrive, not only survive. So I just said millions of people are not meditating and they're surviving, but what do you need to thrive, and creating boundaries around that. So I think that's about all I want to say about that. Is if there's any comments, please drop it in the live or in the replay. So I'm going to give the homework, and then we're going to practice. We're going to drop into our meditation practice. So the homework for today is, there's an action and also a journal prompt. So the action for today is to create a container for yourself and say no to everything else. So whether that be for your meditation, whether that be for your movement, exercise, yoga practice, whether that's you've been really wanting to paint or like do an art project or do a home project, whatever it is that something that would support you, that you've been wanting to do, that's maybe been getting pushed to the side, create a container to actually do it and say no to everything else. Okay, so maybe that means putting it on your calendar. Maybe that means telling someone else in your life, okay, I'm going to do this at this time. Please don't please avoid distracting me. Please maybe allow me to go in the other room and close the door, and just understand that I'm doing this and I'm creating a container for myself. Okay, so whatever you need to do in order to create that container. And the second homework, the journal prompt, is when do I allow my boundaries to be crossed and why? When do I allow my boundaries to be crossed and why? So it happens to all of us. We let somebody push us a little bit too far. Somebody says something and we hesitate to respond because it's like this, I get this kind of deer in the headlights syndrome where I'm like, ooh, something's not right here. I can feel it in my body, but my mind and my words can't exactly catch up. So just looking at that and without making yourself bad or wrong or anything or inadequate in any way, just look at some of the layers underneath those tendencies, those patterns, and those actions, and think about and write about, why do you let your boundaries get crossed? Okay. So that's it. Create a container for yourself and say no to everything else. And journal, when do I allow my boundaries to be crossed and why? Okay, so we'll check in about this tomorrow. And now let's drop in to meditate. So I'm going to get into my typical meditation shape here. And I said that the meditations are going to increase in their time as we go through the week. Okay, I'm noticing that I'm self-conscious about my leg because I got a sunburn in Mexico and my leg is peeling. But it's all good. There. Okay, so sitting up tall, however you are choosing to sit. And start by noticing. Noticing how you feel. Noticing all the information that's being taken in by your body and its senses. So the eyes can be closed, or the eyes can be softly open if you prefer. Noticing the edges of your body, so where your skin meets your clothes or the air, the edges of your form. So notice everything that's within that container of your form. So the bones and muscles, anything that you're particularly aware of, the organs, anything you're particularly aware of, the breath moving through you, in and out. And then notice everything that's outside of the container of your form. So notice the air. Notice any sound in the room. Notice the temperature of the air. how it feels. Any smell or taste of right now. If your eyes are open, notice your surroundings without being too aggressive. So just letting the surroundings and the images enter your eyes and be perceived by your consciousness. And if your eyes are closed, notice the experience of the insides of your eyelids. And then let your eyes, your eyeballs soften, rest, and descend back into your skull. And you can do this regardless of whether you're practicing with eyes closed or eyes open. And then notice the energy of your heart. So without thinking too much, how does your heart feel? How does your heart feel? Does your heart feel full today and very connected and expansive with love? Does your heart feel depleted or empty? Does your heart feel sad? Is there heat and anger around your heart? Is there any particular color that you identify with? What color does your heart feel today? And just letting any color come to you if you're willing without overthinking or really thinking at all. And if your heart feels at all depleted or empty, or any lack, any experience of lack, notice and allow for deep listening to what would fill your heart today, or in general. What does your heart need to feel full? What does your heart need to feel full? And then once you've received an answer, just breathe into it. And we'll also ask the body. What does the body need to feel full? And to feel centered? And to feel that it's operating efficiently in service of the heart, in service of your highest expression of self? What does your body need? What would nourish your body? What kind of food? What kind of practices? What kind of movement or exercise or stretching? What kind of interactions with others So any aspect of yourself that's feeling depleted, empty, what does it need? And breathing into any and all answers that you've received. And going back to that quote from Marianne Williamson, no one will listen to us until we listen to ourselves. No one will listen to us until we listen to ourselves. So after this practice of listening to what you need, you give yourself permission to actually enact that, to create a boundary, a container for the things that your body and your heart need today or this week. So trusting your inner wisdom, trusting your inner truth, like what we talked about yesterday, and listening to that truth, and then enacting it by creating a strong container. And committing to doing and creating what you need to deeply nourish yourself. And if there's anything coming up in your mind, any barriers, anything that would prevent you from nourishing yourself in the way that your body and heart have asked for, just notice that. So is there a schedule issue, a time issue, an issue with another person? Is there an issue with yourself? Resistance maybe to being self-guided and creating what you need. Resistance to possibly having to say no to something else or someone else. And just notice that. What comes up that would prevent you from maintaining that strong container to give yourself what you need. What would prevent you from doing that? And let the breath deepen. Let the breath deepen and really breathe through all of that stuff. Let it be felt. Let it be seen. Let it be acknowledged as something that's valid. And also with the breath, practice letting go. And today is a full moon, so the moon is aligned with a letting go practice for today. So letting go of anything that would prevent you from holding a strong container for what you need. Nice deep breaths. Noticing the breath. Noticing any sensations in the body, any thoughts in the mind that have arisen. And creating space in the mind to allow for the possibility of doing something different. Doing something different in order to create and maintain this container for you to fill your own cup. And for you to keep your cup filled. And creating space in the mind for the possibility of saying no to something or someone. Which is an act of service both for yourself and also for them. And understanding those boundaries, those limits, and teaching others how to treat you, and reinforcing how you desire to treat yourself and how you need to treat yourself in order to take things to the next level, in order to really refine the offering of your heart in the world. So going back to yesterday's practice, noticing what feels true right now. Notice the temporary truth of right now. So any thoughts that are passing through your mind, any sensations in the body, any circumstances, anything about your schedule, anything that feels relevant in this moment. Just notice all of that. And then zooming out, taking a wider perspective so you can see not only the truth of right now, but the truth in general. And how this moment is flowing into the next moment, the next version of truth, the next thing that you think, feel, experience. So that the experience of your body and mind is simultaneously true and also fleeting. So creating space in the mind. And creating space in the body. Noticing once again the edges, the limits of your physical body and your physical form. The container of your body. Notice the container of your heart as well. And utilizing your own love. Fill yourself up. Fill yourself up. Fill up your body. Fill up your heart. Give yourself permission to stay full. So even when you're depleted by something, even when something is pushing your boundary and kind of emptying your container, you're giving yourself permission to refuel, to refill by whatever means necessary, and creating the container to do so. Bring your hands to your heart. Let's take a deep breath. Let your eyes open if they're closed. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this morning. If you're participating in the giveaway, please message me with the word boundaries in all caps. Boundaries in all caps. Message me. I'll send a follow-up email, so make sure you're subscribed on my on the link for the challenge in my Instagram. And once again, the homework is to create a container for yourself and say no to everything else. So anything that you've been wanting to do or any practice. And journal. When do I allow my boundaries to be crossed and why? So I'll send this in an email. Thank you so much. Have a great day and see you soon. Bye.